Hey, welcome to Wine Wednesday.
There you go. I was still muted. Carlton Club members, Canadian wine lovers, welcome. We are here, still in Victoria. We are on Vancouver Island doing our live show, Wednesday Wine Happy Hour. So welcome everyone across the country. This is another great show. Super excited today to talk Tinhorn Creek Winery, one of the staple of the Golden Miles, one of the vineyard who has so much history behind, so much to tell, so much to offer. And we're going to go through many different generations of a Tinhorn winemaker in this offer. So yeah, I've been invaded by bees here. So
more likely wasps, hornets.
Yeah,
they're excited about the wine too.
Exactly. They're excited about Tinhorn. There you go. So from our people here, all over the island, our people in the mainland, in Vancouver, our old folks in Calgary, all of our old friends there in the mountains, have a good evening. Happy Wednesday, and everyone in the Eastern time zone from Toronto. Vicky here, there you go. Vicky in Ontario as well. Mike, Daryl, people in Québec, à tous nos gens du Québec, à Jean-Denis, also Denis Perrin, Pierre Nollet, toute notre gang, un beau bonjour en français à toutes les régions francophones, nos amateurs de vin canadiens, un beau bonjour, bon mercredi. On est excités ce soir, on parle de Tinhorn Creek, Jean-François Perron, la vieille garde, un des meilleurs producteurs de cellier au Québec, au Canada. Jeff Perron, un confrère de Chicoutimi. Born and raised, Chicoutimi Power, Jeff Perron. Merci de te joindre à nous, ça fait plaisir de voir. On est à Victoria, sur l'île de Vancouver, chatting wine with all of you guys, all of our folks, all of our peeps in the Maritimes province, Newfoundland, Prince Edward Island, New Brunswick. Which one? Did I miss one? Anyhow, everyone in the country, welcome. So much fun. Tinhorn Creek has been a staple in Canada for a very long time. One of the top, one of the leaders, one of the, I would say, chef de file, if I speak and keep going in French, one of the leader when it was time to build the reputation of the Golden Miles, one of the first sub-appellation, sub-GI in Canada, one of the most unique place, hot, warm, all over BC, the national wine capital of our country, where they're building now the wine village, right, Mira? We've been there. It was fun planning some events.
Yes, it was. Totally. Really neat new concept where they have a bunch of smaller wineries that are all together. They do all
there's a big news this week, Mira, about the wine village. I don't know if you heard about that. Remember when we were there, we met with the old friend. Crystal McWater was there touring when we were there. And they announced this week that Time Family of Wine are going to open at the wine village. So we were there. We saw the whole thing unfold on our eyes. It's pretty cool.
That was really cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
She was asking,
how are you doing?
Oh, do you have any spots still open? And we're like, they said they might be one over there. And so it sounds like they're going to have a spot there, which is so awesome. Hey, Yannick and Leslie. So nice to see you guys.
How are you doing, Mira?
Pretty good.
Yeah. How's your week? How's your vacation going?
I think it's good. I think it's worthwhile to tell everyone what happened to us. So we came out on Vancouver Island because my parents were having their 50th wedding anniversary.
We celebrated with Mount Boucherie wines and Pearl Morissette wines, right?
Yeah, it was spectacular. I just want to see if this will come up in time. We got the cake here that my niece made. Look at this cake, right? If you get married and you have a 50th wedding anniversary, that's the kind of cake you want, right?
That's it.
We had that with wine, and it was spectacular. And I gave my parents a T-shirt that said, "I survived 50 years of marriage," and all I got was this lousy T-shirt.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was a lot of fun. But then what happened, and you guys might have heard in the news about this, is this happened 2 kilometers from our house in West Kelowna. So that's the
Yep.
Mount Lock fire. Literally the view across the street from us.
Yeah,
And
and we're getting phone calls from our neighbors saying, "Hey guys, do we need to go get your wines?" Because all of our neighbors, the only thing they cared about, it was like, "Guys, I know you're not home, but we need to get the wine out of here."
yeah,
It was awesome.
yeah, they were most concerned about the wine, rightly so, because we don't have any pets or anything. So,
Yeah. So we
our
made
children with
the
us.
decision because there's no point to bring the kids in the smokes and like the risk to be evacuated and like bring the kids to a gymnasium in the evacuee center. So we stayed on the island, tough life, eh?
Really
Because
tough life.
that like look at that back. Here you go.
This was more the view that we went for out here. So
By
we're
the way, we
really
want to send
grateful.
all of our thoughts. By the way, Mira, before we show all of these happy pictures, let's send all of our thoughts and prayer to our neighbors and people from Glen Rosa, like
Yeah.
Lorna, we are with you and Dave. Hopefully, you guys haven't been too much affected. I know you guys got evacuated for a short period of time. So we want to send our we're very grateful for the firefighter, all the crews, all of the emergency crew who fought day and night to keep our houses safe. So we want to thank you. We've heard that message throughout the summer from people in around the Skaha Lake, from people in Oliver. So always like these people saved like many hundreds of acres, saved some house, and like thank you guys, thank you for all the crews, thanks for the generous thoughts from all of our members who wrote us some nice thoughts. So I thought it was important before we show all of our happy pictures.
That's true. Yeah. And I'm just also so grateful that no loss of life, but there have been a lot of homes affected, something like 70, I think.
Yeah.
So they're still trying to decipher the damage, but thank goodness for some rain that came the last couple days. Otherwise, it might still be flaring, which might have hit our house by now because look how close it was, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, very grateful we didn't get affected that way.
That's it,
Also,
right?
a lot of vineyards in that area that would have been affected. So,
well, Ciao Bella, what also Off the Grid. These are all like 5 minutes from there.
yeah, they're really close.
So yeah, no, thanks everyone. And now, well, we decided because we were supposed to be back home by now, so we've decided to extend our stay by the generous hospitalities of Mira's parents and Mira's sisters. So spending some good family time. Mira and I had the chance to escape for a couple nights and go play tourist downtown Victoria. Had some nice meal, some very good time. If you're ever in Victoria this summer, go to Boom and Batten. This place rock. This restaurant right on the Arbor, absolutely rock. We had a heck of a time there. Yeah, so that was a lot of fun.
Really nice food out there. And then we also got to meet a member. So
yeah.
We got to meet Linda from Saanich.
Yeah, Linda came Mira's parents, so we had a couple bottles of wine and some fresh bacon.
Yeah, we had some fresh bacon, local bacon. Fantastic.
Linda, it was great to meet you. That was good chat. That was fun.
Super fun.
What do you have in your to everyone who are listening right now, where are you listening from? What are you drinking? Because everyone who comments tonight on the show and everyone who have purchased the Tinhorn Creek pack so far have a chance to win a little prize here, a top premium wine opener from
Alderley.
Alderley, a nice, beautiful, one of the top winery on the island that we had the chance to visit, to chat with Zach and Julie, the owner. What a great time we had there. So later on, after we chat about Tinhorn for half an hour or so, we'll chat about elderly because there's nice thing to talk about. We tasted some great wine. We may have found our first offer from the island. Maybe.
There's such small producers on the island. Many of them are fantastic, but they make such little amounts of wine that it's sometimes hard to get it off the island in time before it sells out. So yeah, we may be able to get some allocation there from this winery. We went there because our friends at Black Market Wine Co. in Caledon said, hey, there's not many people making Bacchus, and look at their Bacchus vines. Those are the vines right there. They're super old. Right?
So there's two. Mira, before we give all the credit to Rob Hammersley, let's give the credit to Mark Simpson. Mark was the first one to tell me, you need to get your ass at Alderley. Zach Brown is a guy you want to chat with. He is awesome, a very talented winemaker. So in the same week, Rob and Michelle were at their place. Like, you need to make sure you stop by Alderley. I was like, whoa, what's the common thread here? Like, everyone's talking about Alderley. So we finally did. But Rob, this is for you. We're bringing you back because this is my second favorite Bacchus from BC. Okay, come on. No one's making as good as Bacchus as Rob Hammersley at Black Market. No, this one, Rob, you'll like it. Like, we got this one for you, but you're not gonna try that on your own. I'm gonna try it with you. Okay, so there you go.
But yeah, how can you not try it? Because look at that vine. Those are the Bacchus ones, right, Carl, that we took a picture of?
Yep, absolutely.
Some of the oldest in BC, so it's pretty interesting.
There's pretty cool stuff also, like some heat pocket in the vineyard in Duncan on Vancouver Island. So very warm weather, warm pocket there. So they're probably one of the only ones to grow Merlot. And they grow Merlot very well, and they're making some pretty cool stuff. So I'm going to talk about contraband a little later on, and it's a pretty cool project. And I got a gift. I got a bottle. So
of something that has not been released and is pretty innovative and amazing. So.
Yeah. So that's a little bit what happened. So we are stuck on the island for a few extra days. So I think we're going to be there for maybe until the weekend, enjoying what's going on around. Temperature are dipping a little bit though. So, but still, it's still fun. And let's talk about Tinhorn. Are you ready to go?
You bet. Maybe we should share again this lovely image. We were just fresh on Vancouver Island. My dad took us on a tour of the garden. He picked a couple zucchinis. He picked a few tomatoes. 20 minutes, 30 minutes later, he comes out with this stuffed zucchini dish. And we paired it with the Sauv Blanc, which is a new release, a pre-release.
And Carl went in the cellar because, when we go travel somewhere, even if we don't do it so often because we got half of a hockey team, so we have to travel with the kids, we always bring a few cases of wine just in case, right? And I went in the cellar, and that's what I grabbed for that zucchini dish. Oh my God. Guys, it was off the chart. Stuffed zucchini. Mira, what was in that zucchini? Mushroom.
Yeah, we didn't have any meat available, so they used mushrooms instead of meat. Some rice.
Yeah, rice and mushroom mostly. Yeah, you're right. And the tomato sauce made from the fresh tomatoes.
It was pretty great.
Oh, that was awesome. So, and I put a little bit on my plate, some little bit of fresh hot pepper. And that in mine, it was like, oh, so good. And anyway, the texture. So this, because it's a very good bridge. Mira, you're getting very good at that. How to bridge me to my next thing. I thought of starting with that wine. So that's a perfect order. This wine, we have 6 wine on the regular pack this week. And we have that or do you call it the historic vertical pack, right? Or historical,
historical, yeah.
Historical, vertical.
I'll have to explain that one a little.
Yeah. But in the regular pack, there's at least 4 bottles that I would say are unique, special, to die for. That there's so many things that I can say about, because this is so versatile. It's so versatile. There's so many different things and so many different generation of wine in that feature pack this week. It's super cool. So let's start with the new one. This is the 2019, the Oldfield Reserve Sauvignon Blanc. So Oldfield, just for people who don't really know, Tinhorn Creek, they're located on the Golden Mile in Oliver, BC. And if there were one of the first to be established on the Golden Mile and produce that typical big and bold, rich red wine from Southern Okanagan. And Mira, you have more of the numbers than I have because you're the chief researchist in this business here. But when did they start? I think it was 96 or something like that, just to be more precise.
I think 93 they acquired the property, and probably 96 was probably their first vintage. I imagine.
So early to mid 90s, and they helped to grow the reputation of the Golden Mile. So here, this is the first release ever of their Sauvignon Blanc Oldfield Reserve. Why is it called Oldfield Reserve? Well, Sandra and Ken Oldfield, along with another couple, started Tinhorn Creek in the early mid 90s. So Sandra Oldfield was the winemaker. She's a very prominent personality in the wine business in Western Canada. If you talk business, if you talk wine with people from the South Okanagan, everyone knows Sandra Oldfield. Anyway, the Oldfield Reserve has been the top line of Tinhorn Creek since the inception of the winery. So you usually have the entry-level line, the Oldfield Reserve, and you also have the Creek. But anyhow, here with the Reserve Sauvignon Blanc, this is the Oldfield one, so the best grape of Sauvignon Blanc that they find here on their property on the Golden Mile, fermented in oak barrel. After that, split to oak and I think it's 60% in oak, 40% in stainless steel for 8 months. So you have 8 months of oak aging and stainless steel, and reblended after 8 months to give you that big, rich, creamy, oaky Sauvignon Blanc. It's great. It's fun because we talked last week or a couple of weeks ago with the Bella Terra Fumé Blanc. So that's the Western Canadian version of that. The difference is, even if it's younger here, it's a 2019, and they've never made that wine before, first release ever. And it's not even a release because it's not released yet. Only Carl's Wine Club in the whole freaking planet can have access to that. And you guys, the member, are the first one to have the first bet at it. But it's not as oaky in flavor profile that the Bella Terra were. The oak is already more integrated. The richness, the creaminess is there, just like the Bella Terra, but it doesn't have that forward front palate oak approach here. Even if the wine and I would say the whole thing is a little bit warmer, there's also beautiful acidity, and this wine with rich food goes so well. So anyhow, that was a blast. I gave it, oh shoot, I can't remember. How did I rate it, that wine? I think it was a 92, at least 92 plus.
Let's see if it's in the little ticker here. Ooh.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I don't have my glasses, babe. It's where we lost the keys, right?
Yes. We lost the keys with the glasses, we believe.
Oh, I give it a 90. I should have given more. I don't know. I was sleeping that morning. But yeah, really, really good Sauvignon Blanc here. Really, and with food pairing, absolutely spectacular. Rich, bold. So yeah, so that was my first wine that I wanted to talk about. And the second one, Mira, you tell me where I'm going while I'm taking a sip here. I want to see. I have a Syrah 2018 Oldfield Reserve in my glass, so I need to taste just a bit. Mira's going to give me the second ticker.
You want to chat about, let's see, the ancestral method next? Or do you want to do the two bench? Or the Chardonnay?
Let's do the Chard to start.
Okay.
Quickly, briefly.
So Vicky has a good tip there. So they have three kind of types of wines at Tinhorn. They have the varietals, which are more the, everyday drinking kind of wines, right? They have the Oldfield Reserve, and then they have their flagship tier, right? So this is the varietals, I would guess.
You're right, Vicky, but now with the expansion of Tinhorn, with the Peller Estate acquisition, they've been working behind the scene on a couple of different things. And you're a member at Tinhorn, so you probably know, but they have the Innovation Series now. That we have one of the Innovation Series here available this week that we're going to talk after the Chardonnay. That's the Ancestral Method. And
Looks
they
like
also
this.
have right now, they're working on another few special blend. It's called I think it's part of the Innovation Series as well. Some pretty cool stuff that it hasn't been released yet, and it's still under the blending process. But there's a few cool things. One thing that it's cool because exactly what we're doing this week, it's showcasing different generation of Tinhorn Creek, in a sense that Tinhorn, for a long time, they have developed their credibility, the potential, the reputation of the Golden Mile. But after, let's say, early, like mid 2000, all the way to mid 2010, they were a little bit known of like to be stagnant. They were anchored in the old method, and they did not brought a whole lot of novelty into their portfolio. And one thing that Peller brought to the table, it's that influx of resources for their new partner and new winemaker. Now they have a new winemaker, former winemaker at Checkmate, Leandro, top-notch guy, world-class known winemaker, and Ross Weiss, master of wine, who is the winemaker at Black Hills, also oversee the whole winemaking operation across the board for Western Canada, Peller Estate. So now Alejandro and Ross Weiss are working together on some cool project at Tinhorn. So really, really, really cool stuff happening right now. So talking about
Vicky's just filling us in on a bit of the history, and that is that the Innovation Series you mentioned.
Yep.
We've done maybe 6 or so wines in that series so far, and they've been wine club only. She said they even had like a white Pinot.
Exactly. This is pretty cool. And that's why I was so excited to go with that offer, because they gave us the access of some of that cool stuff on top of the library release that we're going to talk at the end. But yeah, absolutely, Vicky. And I think for people who knows Tinhorn only for their varietal series, and they don't know about what else they do some super cool stuff. And the place down there is absolutely stunning. I think Nero may have a few pictures of the winery and their restaurant. One of the top restaurants of South Okanagan, if not the whole Okanagan Valley. They have a top-notch restaurant, Mirador, I think it's right,
Mirador.
So yeah, cool stuff happening down there. We have now the Chardonnay. Chardonnay has a third on the operation here. And what I mean by a third is a third of stainless steel aging, a third of concrete aging, and a third of neutral oak. So if you taste that varietal Chardonnay beside the Oldfield Reserve Chardonnay, it's day and night. The Oldfield Reserve, I don't know if you remember, it's like a big Rumbauer, California, Napa Valley style of Chardonnay. So when we taste it, we're like, whoa, that is so big. It's so oaky. And I was looking for something a little bit more balanced, a little bit more approachable for our members across the country. So when I tasted that, it was absolutely, it's still a big wine. It's still a big Chardonnay. I would say medium plus to full body Chardonnay. There's that creaminess, but there's also the purity of the fruit, not over extracted with oak, nice texture, nice length, typical South Okanagan, ripe pineapple, more than the zesty lemon that you can find a little bit more up north or Ontario style. So I've been talking a lot about the Mount Boucherie old vine, original vines, where it's like one of my favorite was is really like lemon peel, zesty green apple. Well, this is more on the ripe pineapple, but not overshadowed by too much oak. So I like that. I like is the expression of that South Okanagan Chardonnay. Now, next sticker.
Yeah.
My
Go to
favorite.
next because there's some fun ones in this pack. So Cab Franc.
No. Sorry.
We've got the Syrah, which we want to talk about. The
No,
two-bench red.
No, I want to go with the ancestral method.
Yes. Oh my goodness, this is my favorite one.
That's why I want to talk about it. I want to stay with the cold wine to start.
Vicky, if you're still on, I want to know if you've tasted this because we were just totally.
Because if you haven't tasted that, Vicky, you need. If it's not through Carl's Wine Club, I don't care. Contact, because I know you're a wine club member. Contact Tinhorn and get a shipment at your house. This wine. This is the 2017 Ancestral Method, 100% Pinot Noir. It's not been disgorged yet. So there's a lot of technicality in that wine, meaning that what's not an undisgorged mean? That's mean that when they created the second fermentation here in bottle, they didn't take the dead yeast out of the bottle. They didn't rack it. They didn't do the whole champagne process by taking the dead yeast out, adding a little bit more juice, maybe a little bit sugar so no, this is 100% natural. And the wine has been aged now since 2017 on lees. So it's full of sediment in there. So that's mean some people might freak out when they open that bottle, because they will see it's not like wine color. It's not bright, clean white, like see-through. It's like a fresh pressed apple juice. Is it the right description, Mira?
Yeah. And I think what's interesting about that is, like, first I want to know, why do they do this, right, Carl? Because I think some of the best sparkling in the world is done this way. So there must be a good reason. Right?
There's a good reason, because the dead yeast, when it's aged on it, add creaminess, add texture, and add complexity to the wine. By removing that, you get a wine clean, see-through, a little bit more appealing to the eye, but you're taking out some stuff that the wine can sit on for years and years and develop some secondary aromas. That's how you get that little bit of the roasted almond or nutmeg, or like this torrefaction aspect, like the grilled toast, the baked croissant. There's many different things that can come out of it, all depending on how you perceive these aromas. But yeah, and this is bright. This is the acidity, the mousse. What I mean by the mousse, it's the foam is just so textural and so fluffy, marshmallowy, and it's just so good. But high acidity, so well suited for different type of food. So this wine is like I described. Maybe I described it that way in my tasting notes. It's a little bit more geeky, but geeky in the sense that all of the wine geek will absolutely go nuts on that wine. But also it can be so much fun to discover for you don't need to be a wine expert. You don't need to be a sommelier. You don't have to have your level 3 WSET to understand. That's not what I mean. But for these people, I can spend like how long did I spend the first time just smelling that wine? There was so much going on, from ginger to green apple to zesty lime, to all of these grilled roasted nuts and yeasty dulce de leche. There was so much going on in there. But the kicker is, please, Mira, tell our people when it hit the absolute top.
Oh, when we were having it with Chinese food. Is that what you
You
mean?
got it. I want you to tell the
Oh,
experience.
it was just so good. I don't think we have ever eaten that much Chinese food because it
I
pairs so
almost
well.
overdosed on fried rice, on chicken fried rice.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. We had what? Chicken fried rice. We had some lemon chicken. We had some
The Cantonese chow mein.
Cantonese chow mein, a war wonton soup with the dumplings. Oh my gosh, everything just went so well with this
And
that
that's funny
we
because
couldn't stop. Like we were there for like 3 hours eating.
and you know that it is such an outstanding wine when every time you have a bite, there's a body reaction. That was so funny. At some point, one of the kids who was watching us, like, you guys, what's wrong with you? Every bite, we were like, oh, oh. Every single bite, there was a body and a body reaction, a sounds or something was coming out. It was so funny. We looked like two, like, oh, it was crazy.
And we had a couple other great wines open, great like chilled white wines that
Yeah, we
left
had a
on
great
great.
Gewürztraminer open. We had also, I think it was a Pinot Gris. And you know
And I
what?
was like, those wines will be fine tomorrow, but this one's only good like for a day or so. But then we were wrong too. We left what, about this much in the bottle?
Yeah. And
And it
two
was
days.
still sparkly the next day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, no, it's a heck of an experience. If you are not sure, if you look for a treat at One Night Boy, and also everyone who purchased this one will receive a little video of me explaining how to disgorge the wine. So meaning how to open it properly to make sure that you get the dead yeast out. So we'll send you a little video of that as well. And don't expect the flyers in the box. The flyers will be mailed to you
And email.
because we're not home and being
With the fires, it
displaced,
got
we
a little
don't have our spot
complicated.
to work and we didn't have time. And anyhow, we're going to mail you your flyers at home. But you're going to receive a little video how to disgorge, how to open, because here you can see it's a beer cap, but you need to make sure that the wine will be flipped upside down for a little while. If you can store it in the fridge that way for maybe like a 12 hours, if you know that you will drink it the day after, and when you open it, all of the sediment will be in here. So you just like flip it like this, and you're gonna open it with your wine opener that way, and just pop it, and poof, the top and the dead yeast will just pop out, and you'll lose a little bit of wine. Is going to be like going down that way, but like that, you will get most of the yeast out. So yeah, this is special. This is flavorful. This is outstanding for great food pairing, Asian food, South Asian, Chinese, Japanese, sushi, or like the world is your oyster with that. Whatever you feel, if you just feel for an experience, then go ahead. This is something super, super cool.
Really neat. And the other interesting thing about it, Carl, like part of the reason they leave the yeast in there is because then you can keep aging it. It acts like a natural preservative for the wine because there's nothing in there. There's no sulfur. Like most wines, they'll add something to help it, like a kind of preservative, usually sulfur, but not in this, right? So the yeast helps it age. And it's 2017.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Because if you had disgorge it and it's a natural wine, oops, here right in front of my face. If it's a natural wine, the lifespan of that wine will be just like 8 months. Now it's a 2017. So this one is so lively, and that's the dead yeast who keeps it so fresh and alive. So yeah,
and Mike
it's
has
a little bit
really
more
good question.
Yeah, it's a little bit more complicated, a pain in the ass to open because it needs a little technique to do it. And that's mean the winery didn't do it for you, but it preserved and it keeps the life in the wine. So
yeah, no, it's fantastic. And Mike's got a great question. Mike, you and I think the same, because I asked Carl the exact same thing. I was like, why don't we just filter it out with one of those wine aerators that has a little filter? But then Carl's saying, what?
well, you'll kill the bubbles.
There you
You
go.
know, like if you filter your bubble, it's a sparkling wine, right? So filtering your bubble, your sparkling wine going into that wine aerator, you just absolutely ruin 2/3 of the bubbly. Yes, you get stuck with a very good still wine with the base wine, but if I pay $40 because it's a $40 bottle of wine, but for me, I really want that sparkly, that zesty. I want that like the whole experience from the crema, the mousse, the and the acidity goes with it. I don't want to give it a shot into the aerator. And also it's part of the experience. Get a kick out of it. Like get a little dirty. It's fun. So hey, it's always fun to get a little dirty.
Yeah, get a little wine spritzing everywhere. Better as a drink when you can go outside briefly. So not in the middle of winter, but maybe actually for New Year's, it'd be kind of fun. And then Gail's asking, would it pair well with fajitas, which I don't eat very often? What would you say?
Absolutely. You got it. Such a good idea. I love it. Everything with a little kick of heat. Absolutely. Because the high acidity, because the high acidity help to balance out the heat. So no, absolutely 100%. Also with oyster, and go to everyone here. I got Mira hooked on oyster.
I've never had oysters before. Yeah.
My wife never had oyster before, and here we went on a date a couple times. And the first night we had baked oyster and fresh oyster, and she wasn't really sure. And yeah, she went at it. And the second night we went to a different place, and first thing she showed me on the menu, said, "Hey, look, they have oyster again!" And boom! So now she's hooked.
Yeah, that's great. We've tried those with different kinds of sparkling, right? So it's great.
Yeah, but we went once with a glass of champagne. Once, we had the Ciao Bella Rosé sparkling. And these Thai mussels with the Pinot Gris from Haywire was a good hit.
We had some Thai coconut mussels that were fresh with the Pinot Gris from Haywire. Oh my.
Absolutely. It's funny enough, we're going to that very high-end restaurant here in Victoria, and the bartender tried to push for us like to get like some French wine or Italian wine, and no, we're sticking. It's like, what's wrong with you guys with your wine? Because we had we had Ciao Bella Rosé bubbly to start. After that we had the Pinot Gris from Haywire, 2017 Syrah from Black Hills. And the staff were like, well, why you guys are just like going Canadian across the board? So yeah, there was I think we're pretty hooked on Canadian wine, I guess.
Yeah, and then we couldn't resist. We had to comment and say, you should really add this and this to your menu. They're also Canadian. Here's their phone number. You need to call these wineries.
Yeah, exactly.
I think every Canadian restaurant that claims that they source their food locally and they're all about, local food and all this, they should have local wine on their list, like big time. And many of them don't. We're surprised every time we go to one of these places. The food is fantastic. It's all locally sourced. And then they got a bunch of wines from like Chile on their list, right? So
yeah, that drives me bonkers. Absolutely. Like these guys had like 2/3 of their list, all California. And he tried to get me on a glass of Stag's Leap Artemis, or the Cask 23 for a $37 by the glass. I'm like, no, not a chance. I want the Black Hills Syrah 2017.
There you go.
So let's move on. Okay, let's move quickly on the Cab Franc. Cab Franc's typical South Okanagan. A little bit of like dark chocolate Black Forest cake. I think it was pretty well balanced. I like it with it's the price point is good. It's a $25 Cabernet Franc. They produce I would say decent amount of it, but year in and year out, that Cab Franc, it's always very, very consistent. If you're looking for a signature type of wine for Tinhorn Creek, I would say it's easy to choose Merlot and Cap Franc. This is the signature grapes from the south of the Okanagan. Cap Franc, very well made, simple, not overcomplicated, but really direct, really expressive of what it should be. I like the length. I like the pepper at the end. I like the little bit of the green pepper aspect also on the mid palate, but the dark chocolate, the espresso coffee goes very well in the middle. So really enjoyed that wine. Now let's move on to my favorite, one of my favorite red here. That's the Oldfield Reserve Syrah. You guys all know my love for Syrah. This one is not the super extracted, super powerful, fruity, tutti fruity type of Syrah and extremely black pepper. It's a little bit more on the perfume, really, really perfumey on the nose, violet, and maybe some daisies in there. But like, I love the flowery nose. When you get on the palate, it's a medium body Syrah, medium plus, but it's more on the white pepper, some blueberries, some meaty part on the mid palate. There's a good richness. It's not heavy. There's a great freshness. So I like the herbaceous part of the mid palate and also the meaty part. What I mean by it's like a little bit of the smoked meat, a little bit of the hamburger meat, like there's that barnyard in the mid palate as well on the aromas. So well done, 91 points. And this wine is a little oaky right now, but let that sit for another 2 years and you get a diamond. I think this is one of the has the potential to be a rock star for 2018 vintage here from the South Okanagan. What do you think, Mira? You have that in your glass right now. What do you think?
Super enjoyable. Yeah, it's always a good test to put wines in front of me, and you can see by the rate that I drink them typically how exciting they are to me. And I really like this. I keep going back. So
yeah, and on purpose, I gave you an over pour, like a pretty large pour, and I had to top you up before the show. So I think you really like it.
I do. Yeah.
So the last red on it, that's one of the special wine on that lineup. 2012, yeah, you understand correctly. 2012, 2 bench. So what's special with that one? With this is a library release. These have only 5 cases left at the winery, and I had to bag. So this is a Merlot, Cap Sauv Merlot, Cap Franc, Petit Verdot, so Meritage blend. But from the 2 part of the South Okanagan, what I mean by that is the 2 sides of Oliver. If you're familiar with the area, when you drive to Oliver, you have the Golden Mile, and on the other side of Highway 97, it's the Black Sage Road, where Black Hills is located, where Desert Hill is located, where Phantom Creek is located. So this is the Black Sage Road, famous for Syrah, famous for Cabernet Sauvignon. Also on the other side, it's the Golden Mile, where the Merlot is king, where the Cap Franc is king. So what Tinhorn Creek has, it's 2 vineyards. They are owner of the Tinhorn Creek Vineyard, the nice property they have where they're located with their restaurant, but they also have a piece of land on the other side on the Black Sage Road. So they source the grapes. Half of the grape comes from both sides of the highway, the Black Sage Road fruit and the Golden Mile fruit. So 2012. This wine is so unique. It's big. It's spicy. So, and I was sorry, I was reading a comment at the same time. Don't disappear like that, Mira. I feel like if everything, I have the world on my shoulder when you disappear.
Oh my God. I'm sorry.
I'm just joking. So yeah, this is outside of obviously we have that historical vertical pack, vertical how you call it,
the historical vertical tasting pack. I think that's what we called it. We didn't know what
okay.
to call it, but basically, really cool opportunity to taste 3 vintages side by side of an already aged
But
wine.
outside of these 3 wines that we're going to talk right after, that 2012 two bench is the most exciting thing in that pack. Also with the Method Ancestral, I guess, but and
That
maybe
one's
the
pretty
maybe the
spectacular.
Sauv Blanc.
There's some pretty
But
good ones in
this
here.
this 2012, there's no doubt that it's priming. You'll see when we'll talk about this pack here, that is the Reserve Merlot vertical pack, or whatever you guys call it. It's unique, but these can have some difference, by like some bottle difference, right? But with the 2012 two bench, it's in this absolute prime right now. So that's the bottle I was supposed to taste tonight, but unfortunately, I couldn't go back home, so I don't have it to taste tonight. So I cannot give you my score. We'll do that another time. But this 2012 two bench Oldfield Reserve, it's a rock star. Now moving on to that unique experience of the 2004, 2005, and 2006 Oldfield Reserve Merlot. And back then, I think it was called the Oldfield Collection, but who cares? 4, 5, and 6 vintage. So now we're talking about what, 16, 15 years old wines. Canadian wine are not known on the international stage to have an extreme aging potential. Now, it's in your camp to let me know when you get this. Tell me what you think. We had the first time we tasted it with our friend, good friend of the show, Rob Amersley, owner, winemaker at Black Market Wine Company. We tasted it together, and Rob was absolutely blown away by the freshness and the fruitiness of the 2004 and the 2005. Talking with the winemaker, because we did the 3 wines again with the family here in Victoria, what I suggest to do, it's open the 3 wines together with a group of friends and make it a tasting experience. Open the 3 and taste them right away. Give it a 15 to 30 minutes. Taste them again and talk about it. It's crazy how each wine evolves. Every time you taste them, everything changed. Started like I remember like the second one we tasted it here in Victoria. Like the 04 was my favorite right off the bat. And after that, 30 minutes later, the 06 was my favorite, and for different reason. 06 was more fruity, more pure. 04 has that oxidation, burnt toast, but the tannin was still really grippy. So they move up and down the ladder, and also it's just like the roller coaster of flavors that you got is just so much fun. So my suggestion is just open the 3 together with a bunch of friends and just make it an experience with that. Do not decant these wines. There's some sediment in there, but don't pour them all. Like leave like half an inch or an inch in the bottom of each bottle so you don't pour the sediment. But don't decant them. If you decant the 04 or the 05, you will just crush the rest of his life out of it. Like you might just like, if it's not worth it to risk to kill the wine. Don't decant them. So yeah, it was. How much fun was it?
It was fun. I mean, first it was surprising. So the first time we tasted them, it was surprising that they were still vibrant. So we were like, a win for Canadian wine. We were also, I've never had an aged wine with a screw cap. So Tinhorn famously went to screw caps. almost 2 decades ago, and they were probably the first winery to declare that they're doing that. And this was at a time where, you know, the screw caps were just coming on the market and people weren't sure, like, is it going to be as good as a cork and all this? And more you're seeing premium wineries going to screw cap because they're finding that if you have a good screw cap, it can outperform corks sometimes. So yeah, those things surprised us. I think it was just fun to have a whole evening dedicated to talking about our experiences with the wine. And just, you know, we had paper and we were jotting notes and we were saying, yeah, that's my top one and stuff like that. So it's just really neat experience.
I was explaining to my father-in-law what vertical tasting means, and he quickly explained me what does it mean, what a horizontal and vertical tasting means in his own words. So it was pretty funny. Mira, do you want to?
Yeah, he's like, oh, I know. Vertical tasting is where you stay standing up and you just taste a little bit. Horizontal is where you drink so much you have to go lay down. So I'm like, well, not quite, but you know.
Just to answer Mike here, I had the big difference was between the 05 and 06, the fruitiness of 06, but it depends. Talking about my second experience here in Victoria, the wine were not as fruity. I had a little bit more of the back end. I had a little bit more, mostly from the 04 and 05. It was more on the older style of wine, a little bit more like a 20-year-old Bordeaux. It was a little bit more torrefaction, coffee, caramel. There was more of these aspects, and the 06 was still like pretty fruity on the plum. But what we had back in Kelowna, my first try of it, where the 04 and 05 were super fruity and super fragrant. Back then, the 04, and I'm quoting Rob Amersley here, winemaker and owner of Black Market. Rob told me on the 04, if you have blind tasted me with this wine, I would have called it a 2014 or 2015 wine. So what we had in Victoria were a little bit more, I would say, representative of their age. Was a little bit more of an aged wine, and the one we had in Kelowna was absolutely like so fresh. So yes, what I would say to answer your question, not a big difference between 04 and 05. They were pretty close. 06 was more of a more modern wine, so more fresh, more still on fruit. So that's my quick assessment.
And that's really interesting too, because you notice they also changed their label. So I do wonder if there was a bit of a change in Sandra Oldfield made all these wines, but I wonder if there was a change in her style on purpose, right? Hey, we're rebranding. We're maybe going to move to a slightly more fruity style or something like that.
Maybe, I don't know about that. It's a good point, Mira, because Sandra was very well known to use American oak. Mm-hmm. She was very heavy on American oak. I'm not sure in this era, what was it exactly? I know that later on she went heavier on American oak, but here is the and here there was the 04 and 05 label on this original old school yellow, and after 06 moved on into this, but don't think that it's the regular white label. You get the Oldfield Reserve or the Oldfield collection here in golden for the 06. So yeah. Here the 06 has 93% Merlot, 6% Cab Franc, and 1% Syrah, 18 months in French and American oak. So that's the 06. And when you get to, I don't have the information for the I didn't have a whole lot of information, technical information on these wines, but it was so fun. And I love doing that when I don't have technical sheet in front of me, because it's just like, let my imagination and all of my pure brain and taste and nose working without the the pre, like the pre-information dictating what I'm doing. So yeah, it's pretty cool.
Super fun.
Super
Awesome.
fun. Okay, so here is the wow, we've been an hour in already. Jesus, Mary.
Yeah.
Cars
Like saying
intuition.
your intuition. It's so true. It's like
It
incredible.
is. It is. So that's the Tinhorn Creek pack. You know, if you weren't sure, yeah, go ahead. This is like there's so many cool things in there. So yeah, that's what we have this week all the way until tomorrow night. The thing we're very limited into quantities because the 2 bench has only 5 cases. So when this is done, there's no more, right? So it's kind of funny. There's more of the 04 and 05 than there's a 2012 2 bench. It's extremely limited.
Funny.
Next week, what are we doing next week? So we're going to Ontario. We're going not in Niagara. We're going to go for the first time ever in Prince Edward County.
Yeah.
Not
physically, but you know.
No, not physically. I can't because of the COVID rebirth or whatever it is. We don't want to take any risk because we were planning to maybe make a move to go down there for a little bit just to do a little bit of touring and visit Bellaterra and Pearl Morissette and all that. But I don't think that we, with the rebirth of COVID, I don't think it's the right thing to do right now. So
maybe we'll wait another month and a half, and see where it goes. But yeah, so we'll go there together virtually and discover our new winery next week.
Carlo Estate Winery. So Prince Edward County is probably one of the I love because it's such an extreme region, sub-region. Prince Edward County is so cold that it's like Burgundy. Prince Edward County has pretty much the same kind of weather than Burgundy. And just like in the colder region in France, it's one of the only places that the winemakers or the winery owners has to bury their vines in winter. That they have literally like to bury their vines in winter to protect them against the winter and the snow and the frost and all that. Anyhow, we're going to be with Sherry Carlo and Sachs. They have one of the best winemaker in Ontario. We're going to do some cool stuff like sparkling wine that just won gold. One of the top sparkling in the last Canadian Wine Championship. We're going to do Chardonnay, Pinot Noir, a unique Malbec from Prince Edward County that I'm extremely excited about. Their Quintus, their Sextus. Did I say Sextus or Sextus? Or I don't know. Anyway.
Yeah, Carl was worried he's going to keep mixing those ones up next week.
Yeah, so Prince Edward County next week, a cool offer. So I can't wait to introduce that to all of you. It's going to be free shipping for Ontario and a flat fee of $20 for the rest of the country. So we are excited to feature Carlo Estate Winery next week. So it's going to their Pinots are world class. Their Chardonnays are world class, and they do Marquette. They do also some of their top of the lines are super cool wines. So
thanks, Vicky. She stopped by. She said she's got to run, but the Syrah is really nice, smooth, but not overpowering. Highly recommended. We know how much Vicky likes Syrah and how many Syrahs she's tried, so that's great coming from you, Vicky. Yeah. Thank you.
And it was exactly my assessment too, right? Cheers, Vicky. We'll chat with you soon. That was exactly my assessment as well. It's not the big, bold, super extracted Syrah. This is more of the perfume, a little bit of it. My last sip was just like a nice piece of blueberry pie. It's just so nice and fruity. So nice Syrah. Really enjoy that.
Totally. I was just going to say, stay safe boating, because I know Vicky's been boating and it's been windy. So
yeah. Last, I just want a little bit of what we got here from Zach. Zach Brown at Alder Lake.
This is crazy. But Carl, your When you lean back, you're sounding a little like a robot. So come closer to us.
Like this?
Yeah.
There you go.
So tell us what you got there, because this was spectacular. Hopefully we'll be able to share some of the footage of our visit very soon, because it was
I think so. Well, you recorded pretty much all of our conversations, so that was pretty cool. So now we had, long story short, we showed up there with our 3 kids, and Judy, Zach's wife, had her sister who lives on the, I think she spent the summer there with her RV, and she has a daughter on the property. So when we got there, she came out and with her daughter, and she took our kids playing at the tree house. So we went in and we had all the time in the world to taste wine, to chat. So we went through the full lineup and chatting with Zach and Judy, telling us their stories, and this super, super cool story. And learning more about the island and the condition that they're growing and what's going on in Duncan, the Cowichan Valley, and about the heat pocket that where they're located, so how they grow Merlot. And he makes like some pretty decent Merlot there that can compete with the Okanagan. His goal was to build a flagship wine who can compete with Okanagan wines, meaning with richness, with concentration, with fruitiness, but it's not always only exclusively with hybrid grape. So back in the day, but that was the contraband. One of the ship from the area was taking a bunch of stuff during the prohibition, going down. Anyway, long story short, this is the story. But the story of the wine is when he poured that in. First and foremost, it was not part of the tasting. We're not supposed to taste that. But at some point, he just went in the back. He said, "I have to tell you about my new project. I made only 50 cases of that, and I want you to tell me what you think." This is 70% Merlot. I think it's 20% Cabernet Libre and 10% Cabernet Foch. So 2 hybrid with 70% Merlot. This is blind taste that can go easily with some of the big flagship from the South Okanagan. It can be as juicy as Mirage from Desert Hill. It can be something you can put side by side with Painted Rock, let's say. It can be something you can put side by side with Tinhorn 2 bench. These can compete with some of the top flags. This is really impressive. And Zach said, "I don't know, like, I'm not sure. I'm still in my bubble. I'm kind of not the fear, but I don't want to get that out there because I don't want to be disappointed." I was like, "Oh man, you need to get that out there. This is very spectacular." So keep an eye on that, okay? 2018 is just such a small crop, and it's just like you said, it's only 50 cases. So this wine is never going to make it out of the island. But unless maybe you're Carl Wine Club members, I don't know, we never know. But yeah, Mira, what did you think of that?
That was spectacular. That was just so unexpected at how flavorful it was, and it's really exciting to be part of a story of someone pushing the boundaries like that. So basically, he had the guts to say, "I think we can do this on the island, and I'm going to try it." And he was kind of like, "I don't know, I might be crazy. Maybe it won't work. Maybe 3 years from now, I'll say, oh, that was just a mistake." But I'm pretty sure it's not going to be the case. I'm pretty sure it's going to just sell out very quickly and become something of a bit of a legend in the area, that they were able to pull this off, and it tasted fantastic.
It was so cool. So I wanted to share that with you because like Mira said, like, it's so cool to be part of that. And like when he went back there and he just put a bottle and he opened it, and it's like, like, it's unscripted, right? Like, so he was kind of like shy about it. He wasn't sure, kind of, and that was so cool, and being part of that story. And this is good. This is, like I mentioned, to him and to you guys, it's like this can go side by side with some pretty big Okanagan red, and like just kick some ass. So we're very, very, very proud and like grateful to be part of these stories. So here we are.
Awesome.
Alderley from Duncan on the island. So super cool place.
You betcha. And here, let's do our draw.
For a Alderley wine opener, premium wine opener, well done, nice grip, well, yeah, I like it. So
there's wine openers, and then there's wine openers, and Carl would know because he's opened many, many thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of bottles of wine in his career.
Shitty wine opener and there's good wine opener. Okay, you know, right, like the one with the short stick, and no, this is Teflon. This is the proper material. It's not too long. It's not too short. It's double the double step. This is the premium one. This is what we use if you're serious.
There you go. Let's see who wins. Thanks for stopping by, you guys. Oh, Craig Pritchard.
There you go.
Yay.
Craig Pritchard, you just win our premium wine opener from Alderley.
Yeah.
So, there you go. So yeah, so exactly,
Mike says
no,
we're not too serious. That's what we use. Good for you. Yeah.
Mike and I spend a day tasting together, and we know we're not too serious. That's for sure. That's for sure.
That was awesome.
Unfortunately, Ricky Daliwar, the winemaker owner at Lakeside Cellar, we were supposed to do a Zoom tasting with him this weekend. Unfortunately, something came up. He cannot do it. But what we're going to do, we're going to still do the last chance to reorder any of the Lakeside Cellar wine. The what's the name? The Portage Red was one of the big hit, and also some of the Provenir and the bubbly Sauvignon Blanc. Anyway, great success. People love the Lakeside Cellar, so we don't want to shut down the link before we offer everyone a chance to reorder. So I think Friday we're gonna send you an email with the last chance before we shut the whole thing off. Okay, so there you go.
Awesome. And Bellaterra is still on for the rest of the month. Bellaterra, and see, we do these big fancy things for Chardonnay Day and for Rosé Day, but today was some kind of Pinot Noir Day. And we did
I missed it. Sorry, I've been displaced. I'm homeless. I'm staying I'm displaced at my in-laws. It's not an easy life. I'm just joking.
Pretty awesome life we got over here because his in-laws like wine and we like wine, so it's pretty good.
No. But yeah, it was Pinot Noir Day, and I'm glad that we did not have the whole shebang organized, because it would have turned out to an extreme gong show, having to do it somewhere away from home without the samples and everything. So I'm glad that we have not planned anything, but happy Pinot Noir Day.
Carol's swearing for you. I agree.
I know, tabarnak.
The funny thing is I looked it up, and it actually originally I thought it was only Pinot Noir Day for the UK. But at some point someone said, oh, the heck with it, it's for everyone. So
yeah,
I think we need to decide on like the varietal days that Carl's Wine Club recognizes, because there's so many of them. Different countries will say, oh, it's New Zealand's Pinot Noir Day today. And then suddenly someone in like Germany is celebrating Pinot Noir Day on that day. And, so we got to decide which are the ones, or do we just do all of them? And then every day is something, right?
Yeah, I know, but anyhow, but yeah, So, what's the plan? You going on a date with our younger boy tonight, right?
Yes, I'm going on a date with our 4-year-old.
Sounds exciting.
Yeah, it'll be good.
Okay. Hey, everyone,
just-
Carl's Wine Club members, Canadian wine lovers, for all of you across the country, I hope you enjoyed the show. We have Tinhorn Creek super special pack with Ancestral Method, with back vintage 24, 5, and 6 Merlot. We have 2012 Meritage. We have a brand new pre-release of a reserve Sauvignon Blanc. So we have some cool stuff going on, going until tomorrow. And on that, I will wish you a great rest of your evening, good rest of the night. We'll chat soon.
Yeah. Cheers.
Bye.